It's a wild and secluded workplace few have witnessed. This 70-kilometre stretch of coastline is part of the Coorong National Park in South Australia and home to the country's largest commercial pipi fishery.
A lot of people wouldn't even know it exists, really. But, you know, you get down there and you look how beautiful it is. I can't, picture a better office, to be honest.
A net, bare feet and a good technique, and you're pretty much set. Although not every newcomer is a natural at the cockle dance.
It's just simultaneously working each feet through the sand to build a big enough trench and get the cockles up out of the sand. Yeah, for the first 2 weeks you really feel quite unco and sort of, what the hell am I doing? But no, once you get it, it's like riding a bike. You've got it.
Pipis come in with the tide to feed. And despite their sedate appearance, Darren Hode says they're quick to try and make a getaway when they're disturbed.
Everybody thinks they're just a dumb cockle that lays on the beach, but sometimes you'll just see them, they'll be laying on the sand and all of a sudden they'll stick their tongue out and be gone within a matter of a second.
These guys are out here all year round, come rain or shine. And while shuffling in the shallows in this beautiful setting is an appealing prospect most of the time, the lack of footwear can wear a bit thin in winter.
In the middle of winter and we've got high tides and big swells up over our heads sometimes, that's not too nice. The second you get in the water you're saturated and you spend another 4 hours in the water digging cockles, so it does get pretty cold.
Darren Hode's crew harvests the same way his father did. He says the hands or feet-on approach is more sustainable than mechanising the process. Indeed, the fishery was the first in the state to be certified by the Marine Stewardship Council, which provides independent environmental accreditation. And the environment is certainly returning the love at the moment. Many attribute the healthy population to the introduction of a quota system a decade ago. It was a controversial decision by the state government and one that divided the fishery, with some of the 30 or so licence holders unhappy with how the individual catch allocations were calculated.
I mean, it was just crazy. We entered into a market where the more we fished, the more we collapsed the price.
While the margins weren't attractive, the low-value industry at least allowed Tom Robinson to get his foot in the door when he bought into the fishery in 2002. The former advertising executive was in need of a sea change and saw Pipis as a relatively affordable way to chase his dream of being a fisherman.
I saw myself down on the beach, the sun on my face, digging cockles, mucking around with vehicles. I still love those things, I'm just not very good at it. But the things that I have been able to bring from my advertising days is the ability to brand a product and value add it.
Value adding these molluscs has certainly gained momentum over the last decade. Traditionally, they were just seen as bait, albeit a very good bait when it came to hooking King George whiting. But the humble fisherman's friend has now turned into the prized catch.
It was a bait fishery when we started and, you were lucky to get $1 a kilo for it. And then sort of when the human consumption market came along, all of a sudden it was, $5, $6, $7, $10 a kilo for pippies and, yeah, it was amazing. So all of a sudden we didn't have to work 7 days a week, daylight till dark to make money.
Driving that change in fortune in recent times has been Gua Pipi Co. While historically licence holders were highly competitive and did their own thing, several former rivals who control just over 60% of fishery production have now joined forces. Gulwa Pipi Co started by supplying fresh cockles to wholesalers and wet fish markets in mainly Sydney and Melbourne. It also exports a small amount of live product to Europe and Asia. But the 5-day shelf life of the loose shellfish can be a deterrent for potential retail and restaurant customers. So, with the help of a government grant, the owners installed a packing line which modifies the atmosphere around the pippies to 80% oxygen and 20% carbon dioxide. That doubled the shelf life and opened new doors. In the meantime, there's a growing number of restaurants adding pippies to their menus, including Jolly's Boathouse in Adelaide.
There's a certain childhood memory in Adelaide of going down to Goa, doing some cockling, doing the crazy dance on the sand, bringing the cockles back, and yeah, it's become very, very popular in most restaurants in South Australia.
What's the biggest mistake people make when they're cooking them?
Overcooking them. Once they're overcooked, they can go quite tight, quite rubbery. It's a very quick process, minute and a half. It's the original fast food.
For chef Tony Carroll, Pipis tick some very important boxes. They're affordable for him and popular with diners.
We serve ours a little bit different here. We serve ours with a Calabrian pork sausage. We finish it with some shaved fennel, parsley and garlic butter. And there we have it. Beautiful local Gulwa Pipis.
Producer Tony Robinson says this is just the start of what's to come in product development. But he's pretty stoked with the first course.
Seeing our product on a menu in a really fancy restaurant, it still makes me giggle when I see it. It's to see where that product's come from and the perception people had of it as being a bait-only product. I mean, it's just amazing.